Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Welcome, New Life family and friends. It's Chris Williams in studio for Steve today, and joining me today is Dr. Alice Benton.
Hello, hello.
Good to see Alice.
You too, Chris.
And Dr. Jill Hubbard.
Ta-da!
Hello!
Hi, Jill.
Magically appeared.
In the
Hi,
nick of
guys.
time. I love it. I love it. So we've obviously, what's dominated these last couple of years is this global pandemic called COVID. Mm-hmm. But it's had all of these mental health side effects and emotional, relational health side effects. But any of us who are struggling with this thing that we talk about a lot here, but it's important that we talk about it, shame, right? So what is shame? You know, and what I say, shame is a primary negative belief about yourself. Mm-hmm. But it's more than just a belief. It is a belief, but it's an organizing principle. It's how we organize ourselves around this belief, and it starts shaping us.
And certainly with all of the isolation that people have experienced through COVID, if you have any tendencies towards shame, it intensifies.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
Because just within ourselves, we magnify our shame.
Yeah.
And isolation exacerbates it, and the two go hand in hand. And the more isolated we become, the more stuck we are in our shame, because the solution to shame is safe relationship. Folks have been asking me lately, how do I get back to happiness? I haven't experienced it in so long.
Yeah.
And I think that shame is a major impediment, and it can feel like we don't have power to change the shame that we carry. But part of shame is usually unresolved issues, unconfessed sin behavior, unrepentant sin behavior. And God gives us real specific steps that we can take to resolve it, and it goes back to confession and safe relationship.
But it's also a confusion, I think, of shame versus guilt.
Yes.
A lot of people
Yeah.
have inappropriate guilt, right? They feel very shameful about themselves. It's not just about their behavior. It's about actually their existence, who they are as people. And one of the things we have to look at, too, is the protective nature of shame. If I make myself really, really small, maybe nobody will notice or hurt or see how flawed I am, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things is taking risks. We have to take risks to expose ourselves, to be, like you said, in relationship with others.
Well, and shame also is oftentimes something that was put on us through painful experiences from our past and even traumatic experiences from our past. But when we start believing that, and I've seen that the most common, the most popular, if I can say it that way, shame message is not good enough.
Right.
Right. And
It's almost universal.
Exactly.
Everybody has it to a degree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And so when that gets in us, we start organizing our emotional life around it, our relational life around it, our vocational life. It's like everything starts shaping it. Shame becomes a discipler of us. It starts shaping and forming us around these negative beliefs. That's why it's so important to address and to look at. And that's why isolation exacerbates it, because it's a relationship to ourselves. We may think it's a relationship to the world, but really it's a relationship to ourselves.
So are you saying that shame is really the pandemic here?
You know what? It really is. Actually, that's
At least an epidemic.
Jill,
Come on.
you said it, not me, but I totally agree. I totally agree with that. You know, today, in Going Deeper with Steve Arterburn, it's on YouTube. Again, Going Deeper with Steve Arterburn. Steve's going to be, he goes through the alphabet. Today is S, and it's on shame. You'll want to check that out. Please give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to be in studio for 2 hours today. And so we'd love to talk to you, love to help you out.
2 fun-filled hours.
2 fun-filled hours. We're going to bring some happiness, 1-800-229-3000.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, I completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Orange County, California, November 5th through the 7th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. Again, Chris Williams in studio with Alice and Jill. And we want to talk to you. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. And there is a lot going on in our world, as there have been. But one of the things that Alice, you and I were talking about was like how shame steals joy. Mm-hmm. How do we recover joy? How are we going to get back our happiness?
Mm-hmm. And we have to identify and confront those beliefs, those negative and what we call maladaptive beliefs that we have about ourselves, because many of us aren't even aware of the internal dialogue going on in our head and the way that we beat ourselves up in our head. And usually those messages did come from somewhere else, like you were pointing out, Chris, but we take ownership of those messages. We make them our own, and often there becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where when I think I'm not good enough and I isolate from people, I increase both the belief and my own behavior, which makes it all so much worse. And we have to break out and take risks.
Right, and we constantly look for evidence of that, right? We have that narrative then in our heads, and then we're constantly looking for our environment to reinforce that.
Yes,
Instead
absolutely.
of looking at what the truth is. And Chris, earlier you mentioned when people put shame on us. I think of all of our women at Restore and how when you have a spouse or a partner that acts out, how that feels so shameful for the person. Like, what's wrong with me that they would do this? I'm not enough.
It's what I call the contagion of shame, because shame is oftentimes driving the sexual acting out.
Right.
So
and it's it's contagious.
Yes, and it's true suffering. And speaking to that, guys, if this is a struggle that you have and you want to break free of the shame, you want to break free of the behavior, we have Every Man's Battle coming up very soon here. It's here in Orange County, California, November 5th through the 7th. So please join us. Again, as Jill mentioned, we have Restored coming up in Washington, D.C. the week after that, November 12th through the 14th. That might be a good plan. Like, that may be the best preparation for the holidays that a couple could actually do, is husband go to Every Man's Battle, wife go to Restore, and
then several months later you go to intimacy and marriage. It's the full package.
It is. It really
it
is.
really works.
Yes.
I've done it with couples and it really helps.
It's fantastic. Well, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Mary, listening in Baltimore, Maryland on WAVA. Mary, are you there?
Yes.
Well, I love the enthusiastic yes.
Mary.
We're here too, so tell us, how can we help you?
Oh, I was just so shocked. Well, I'm a mother that's trying to figure out what a mother can do with a 34-year-old son that was her support system after his father died. And now he has changed, he's left. He's told someone he doesn't do Jesus, and all he does is watch mean stuff on iPad and be on the phone, and I don't know what to do. I don't have any male support system to ask to, talk to him or anything like that.
Mary, are you part of a church?
I was active before the virus. I haven't been back since then.
Okay.
Just online stuff. I haven't gone to service.
And what conversations have you had, if any, with your son? Have you talked to him about the changes that you see in him?
Oh, now he doesn't talk. He won't talk to me about anything. He'll just say goodbye and things like that. But a conversation, he doesn't want to have a conversation with me.
And does he live with you?
Yes, he does. And he's frustrated. He's frustrated because, like he doesn't have a life because he put his life on hold because of me. And, and he has a job, a real challenging job, and I just don't know what to do.
Mary, how old was he when his dad died?
When his father died, he probably was 29.
Okay.
And how did his father pass away?
And he never came up to his father's standard. He has never, his father wanted him to be a football player, and he wasn't built for it. And so his father never connected to him like a father.
Wow. Mary, you were hearing us talk at the beginning of the show about shame, right?
Yes.
And that's it. Shame is that primary negative belief. I don't measure up. I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. And when our fathers don't affirm us, biblically speaking, it's a big deal that one of father's primary roles is to bless the children. And the blessing of the children is saying, I got you. I believe in you. I'm with you. You have what it takes. It's really combating that shame message, and your son just didn't get that, which is it's terribly tragic.
Right. So he sounds like he's kind of checked out, right?
Yeah,
he's
stuck.
sunken into his shame and probably is depressed. It's just been 5 years since his dad died, and he's been there for you, but he's not really been there for himself.
Yeah.
Mary, do you still need him to take care of you?
I'm trying to learn how, but I'm trying to. I just this weekend, a cousin that had not been in our life, a female around my age, is saying she's going to help me because I was, such a mess that if I died right now talking to you, there's nothing in paper or anything of what to do with anything. So she's gonna, she's gonna help me to get my life straight. Trying to get the business things done.
And Mary, what level of care do you still need from your son? Is it financial support, physical assistance?
Financial support is one thing, and I don't seem to know how to be okay with my life.
Yes.
Because all because I did was him. He has been, I worked a lot and worried about him, and so I didn't have other families and people to come by the house and things like that.
So are we talking about your son or your husband?
Oh, I'm talking about I'm talking about me, the lady here, his mother. Yeah, his mother was a workaholic and didn't realize it until recently. Recently I realized that I did it all wrong. So my son has never had the right kind of parenting.
So Mary, that is super helpful. It's super painful, but it helps us because even though your son has the focus, is that what you need the help here. You've been suffering. You've been carrying this guilt, possibly shame. I'm a bad mom. I have, made a mistake, and my son is suffering. And so oftentimes what we do then is we try to rescue our own guilt or our own shame through another person. Like if my son was doing better, then I would be doing better. And although that may not be...
Then I would be successful.
Yeah, and
right?
it may not be totally untrue, but there's also a reason you're a workaholic. There's a lot of things underneath the surface that I would love for you to be able to look at and say, man, if I can become healthier, and then I can invite my son into that healthier process.
Right. It's almost the best remedy for helping your son, Mary, is to help yourself. Because as he sees you doing okay, that may lift a burden off of his shoulders.
You need to get to a point, Mary, where you can release your son from this high level of caring for you. He always needs to honor you, and it's good for him to help you. But I think you have leaned on him too heavily for too long. Now, you certainly needed it, and you've gone through this incredible loss of your husband. But I hear a spark in you that you're recognizing this, and you are getting ready to spread out the assistance to your cousin. And I want you to expand that help team back to the church that you haven't been to for a while, and to other good people in your life who are willing to help shoulder the burden so that it's not falling so much on your son.
Right. It's really time, Mary, to reconnect. And get out there and be with people.
Yeah.
Okay. And as far as my son, do I be fearful of him?
Nope.
You know,
Nope. You don't be
connecting with the wrong people. And
Well,
stuff? I just
well,
have-
he's.
Well, you can't really control that,
Yeah,
Mary.
yeah, Mary. He's 30.
He's 34.
Yeah.
He's an adult. You can tell him you're concerned about him, but that you realize he's an adult and he needs to lead his own life, and that and I would even admit to him, I realize, son, I've leaned on you way too much, and that it's been burdensome to you, and I'm really going to work to spread out that burden, as you were saying, Alice, and I'm going to start taking responsibility for myself and where I'm at in life.
Mary, I think you've been trying to get the slivers out of your son's eye, and they are there. Your son is an imperfect man who also needs help. But the best help for your son is going to be removing the beams from your eye and getting your side of the street cleaned up. And that will both model for your son, and it will bring more grace and more freedom into the home as you take care of yourself.
Right, and we're not talking about perfection, because I hear that you're really hard on yourself, Mary. It's just beginning, just stepping out to address problems. It's not until, your house is completely clean that things are going to be okay. But it's the starting of moving forward.
Yeah, because God's grace is with us the entire way.
Yeah, we just need to get started.
Yeah, through our progresses and through our mistakes and failures. And so, and like you said, but he joins us in the work, regardless.
Yeah.
So, Mary, I would love for you to connect with a therapist. In fact, New Life has a network of therapists. We have some great therapists there in the Baltimore area. And here's the strategy. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to get into some therapy. And then as you're seeing things, you're going to invite your son into a couple of sessions with your therapist. And say, hey, I need your help because I need to look at a couple of things and see if you'd be willing.
Yeah, right now, before his father passed, we went to family therapy, and my son only went 3 times. He said, I don't need this stuff, right?
Okay. We'll try it. Just, but listen to me.
Mary, Mary, we're gonna interrupt you because it's by the modeling, it's by your modeling that may produce a heart change in your son. There's not a guarantee, but this is the best advice we have to hopefully soften his heart to try again.
Right, and it's not about that he needs therapy. It would be to invite him in to say, I need help. I need help. I want to be a better parent to you, right? A better mom, and I need you to shed some light on things.
Well, and there needs to be an adult relationship.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So,
to be able to say that, I want an adult relationship with you, and I need to learn how.
Yeah. And so Mary, there's some shifts and some changes that occur along that. But here's what we're going to do. We're also going to send you a copy of the Emotional Freedom Workbook. We're going to send that to you, but we're also going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back. And that's actually for your son. I'm not sure if he'd be open to it or not, but you'll say, hey, I got this resource, check it out and see what you think. But go through that emotional freedom workbook. It really has a lot of things in there that can help uncover what's going on behind all of the frustration and guilt and just overall stuckness that we find in our relationships in life. And Mary, thank you so much for calling in. Again, give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to be in the studio for a couple of hours today. Any amount that you give in the month of October, we will send you a copy of Understanding and Loving Your Child Who Smokes Pot. We know that we're experiencing a cannabis pandemic, pot pandemic.
There's lots of pandemics going on
but
right
we
now.
want to make sure we have the right information. This book has the right information, and we will be back right after this.
My husband's been addicted to porn since he was 10 years old.
I found out about 9 months into my marriage that he has a porn addiction.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., November 12th through the 14th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits, like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. Chris in studio with Alice and Jill, and we're going to go straight back to the phones. We'd love to talk to you. So we're going to talk to Gordon in Orlando, Florida, listening on WTLN. Gordon, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Talk to us. What's going on?
Well, I have been in touch with you previously. I've been a follower and supporter of the ministry since you were in Texas. And,
thank you so much for that, Gordon.
You're welcome. Thank you for the work that you do. And I endured a lot of. I guess I was born into a very high anxiety-filled home, and both of my parents were abused and were abusive. And I was my role in the family system was the shame receptacle.
Wow.
So I was kind of made responsible for everything that was wrong with a very wrong family. And so 34 years sober from drugs and alcohol.
Oh, great.
I did your every man's battle, and I've been sober from sex, pornography, and but I still am just have oppressive anxiety, and I'm currently going through depression. I had a dog that died a couple of weeks ago, and I just have a really disproportionate amount of shame, anger, sadness.
Yeah.
I feel like I should have been able to do something. The dog died of old age.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Gordon, how much trauma recovery work have you done?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've done multiple inpatients. I did chemical dependency, then I did what they called codependency, and then I did on-site.
Okay.
I don't know technically what the names were, but I've always been at it for the same reason.
Okay.
Intolerable anxiety and pain and shame.
Yeah. And are you currently in therapy?
No, not currently.
Okay. Yeah.
Why did you stop going to therapy?
I think I was just worn out. I mean, I've done it multiple times for extended periods of time. Like I said, I've been, sober. In January, it'll be 35 years. Putting down the drugs and alcohol were, although they weren't helping me in a lot of ways, life certainly got a lot harder without them.
Of course.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
It makes sense.
Because they work.
Yeah.
It
right
makes
in the short term.
And it makes sense that you
Well,
became
not to mention
weary
the fact
of
that
the...
I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease in 1976.
Gosh, Gordon.
So I've had chronic food poisoning for 45 years.
Oh my gosh.
And wow, with all these complications, Gordon, tell us about the medication you've taken to treat the anxiety. How much success have you had that way?
Well, I mean, nothing, even when I was drinking and drugging, nothing ever...
Tell me about the prescribed medication you've had for anxiety.
Well, I've been on Paxil for probably 30 years. And then Wellbutrin and buspirone or bupropion. I mean, both of those, which one of them's Wellbutrin and one of them's something else.
Are you currently seeing a psychiatrist, and have any adjustments been made lately?
No, not currently. I was seeing one up until maybe about a year and a half ago. It doesn't, doesn't make any difference.
Well, Gordon, let me also put this into place. So when you're describing intergenerational trauma, sort of our pain that we pass down and the pain that was passed down to you that has transformed into, like you said, shame. We call that the scapegoat, the person who becomes responsible for all the problems in the family. So then your dog dies and you feel responsible for that as well, things that are completely outside of your control. You mentioned Crohn's disease, multiple addictions. First off, you need to know that I am blown away, proud, and impressed with coming up on 35 years of sobriety from drugs and alcohol. The sobriety that you have achieved
in the face of such intense anxiety.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
It's absolutely amazing. And so one of the things that's really important about working through these is that we got to be connected, even on a daily basis. If we think about recovery as a daily reprieve, we think about anxiety as a daily reprieve. Oftentimes that happens in community, in relationship. And that's one of the
I pretty much make 5 or 6 AA meetings a week.
Okay.
Oh, good. Okay.
In person.
Perfect. And are you getting coffees? Are you getting ongoing conversations and deeper relationships outside of that?
Yeah, I have a couple of guys who come over to my house for a Bible study on Wednesday nights.
Excellent.
And I talk to those guys.
Excellent.
And Gordon,
I mean, I'm better than I've ever been, but I just feel terrible.
Okay, so Gordon, are you ever aware of moments of being anxiety-free or anxiety lessened? Do you ever have those
Yes,
moments?
I have had them, although I'm not in it right now, so it's a little hard to remember.
Okay.
But yes, I have had.
You have had moments.
Moments or periods of peace.
Okay, where you feel calmer, less anxiety.
Yes.
Okay, I want to hear more about that after.
Absolutely. So Gordon, we're going to come back to you right after the break. Again, if you want to talk to us, we're going to be in studio for a couple hours today, 1-800-229-3000. I'd mentioned we have a nationwide network of therapists. If you need to get connected, that's 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we'll be back right after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We're talking with Gordon, who has just had a tough go, and that's to put it lightly, and lots of childhood trauma and pain, addiction, but he's done such a phenomenal work of working through his addictive issues as well as his pain. But Jill, you were leading him down a really helpful trail.
Gordon, first of all, I want you to know, just as Chris was saying, and as you already know in saying that you were kind of the receptacle in your family for everyone to dump on. So as a child, you were really flooded. Right? It was way more than any child could handle. So, of course, you would be anxious. And that became part of your, life moving forward is to be anxious. But so I asked you about, do you ever have moments of calm or less anxiety or even anxiety-free moments? And you said yes, that you have had moments like that. Can you tell me about a moment like that? And are you aware of what contributed to that?
Well, I had a couple of healings last year that I can't really explain. They just kind of happened. It didn't happen subsequent to doing something. One of them, I felt it like it was like flipping a switch, and the other one was kind of I felt better, and I looked back and remembered, around when it was that I thought it happened. And my belief is that it was some kind of spiritual healing, like generational oppression of some sort that had been lifted. But, since the dog died, I can barely breathe.
Gordon, I was thinking of that spiritual side, and I want to speak to that briefly. But first say, that dog was perhaps one of the most important creatures in your life.
The safest creature, probably.
Yeah.
They're loving you, always available to you. So this is the loss of your companion. And so the deep grief and anxiety that you feel without your dog is it's kind of honoring of the companion that the dog has been to you. So as uncomfortable as it is part of grieving the loss of the dog. Now I'm going to speak to the spiritual side because I heard what I think is a fiery dart from the enemy, which is it doesn't make any difference. And I bet you battle with those maladaptive thoughts that we were talking about at the beginning of the show, thinking sometimes what I do, the medication, the groups, it doesn't seem to make any difference. And yet your sobriety belies that. Your sobriety counteracts that lie. The things you do, you are a rock star, sir. And you have been so consistent in your work, and it is making a difference. But you must fight with Scripture, fight with prayer, and fight with these good men in your life against that lie. What I do doesn't make a difference. It's not true.
And one of the lies for addicts is often that in order to be okay, I must have like no negative feelings at all. I must be completely pain-free, kind of an all or nothing thinking. And Gordon, I don't know if you get into that at all, but everybody has a whole array of positive and negative feelings. God created them all. I always say it's a whole rainbow of feelings, and they all have a purpose. And everybody has a little bit of anxiety, and sometimes it's greater and sometimes it's less. The goal is to not have it be debilitating. If it's debilitating, that's when it's problematic.
That's good. Yeah.
For you. Right.
And that's when you go back to your psychiatrist, go back to individual therapy, do what has worked before. None of it works perfectly. It doesn't.
It's not 100%.
But it is time to dip back into those services again.
So what do you think about EMDR?
Big fans of it.
Yeah. I think that'd be great.
It would be really good for you.
You know, and Gordon, as you've experienced through these other programs, things here at New Life, you had mentioned On-Site, an organization I've worked with before. So you're in great programs, but really where we make the difference is what you've experienced in your recovery. And that really is in the details of the day-to-day, kind of getting into the minutia.
Well, right. And I want you to be aware, Gordon, even though those times that you described were really good and wonderful, I also want you to be aware of the calm that can come when we connect to other people. Yeah. And notice after you've been with your men, after you've been to a meeting, how do you feel before the meeting and then after the meeting? Does it feel a little calmer for you?
Yeah. And then
sometimes. Now, one thing I wanted to mention about what you said about, the word is that I listen to Christian radio all day, every day. I mean, I listen to you all every day as part of my WTLN. And also, I've read the Bible cover to cover probably more than 40 times.
Okay, so Gordon, I'm gonna land it here. Okay, here's what I see as the issue. Here's the problem: you're expecting something outside of you to fix something inside of you. And what I want to encourage you to do is your work is an inside work. The power is within you. And I'm not talking about purely humanistic here. I'm talking about when Paul says to the Colossians, I'll get it out there. The Colossians. The Colossians.
Yeah, I was wondering, what book is that?
the shoemakers. He says that there is this mystery of a message of the gospel to the Gentiles, and it is Christ in you, the hope of glory. You have more resources inside of you that you're not tapping into. And you're looking for everything outside to then temporarily relieve you. Getting back into work with EMDR, getting back into inner healing where you get the resources that God has given you for yourself. And that's why when you're alone, it becomes very debilitating because it's about the relationship you have to yourself. We are going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back that will help kind of navigate some of that, but also be able to get into your own individual therapy again.
And speaking to that, Chris, your relationship with your dog, pets are wonderful, but we project onto pets. So all of the goodness in that relationship, Gordon, was coming from you. I mean, not that the dog
Yes.
wasn't good and the dog doesn't respond and isn't loving, but more of it comes from us onto them, and that's why they serve a great purpose.
Absolutely. So, Gordon, thank you so much for calling in today. We hope that what we've shared is helpful, and we just continue to pray for greater inner healing and freedom in your life. And with that said, we're working on the next Emotional Freedom Workshop. Be on the lookout for that. That will be, we're looking at the end of January. So if you're struggling and get stuck, check us out. Be on the lookout for that. And I'm on the lookout right now for the president of New Life, Larry Sonnenberg. Larry, what do you got for us today?
Well, I wanted to, in preparing to come in here, I was looking at a whole bunch of testimonies.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to thinking, we've got this radio program all backwards. We're going to come in one day and do about 45 minutes of testimonies, and we'll get one phone call. Okay. I think that would be pretty powerful.
Yeah.
But we have a workshop coming up, Restore, and it's in Washington, D.C., November 12 to 14. And if you sign up by this Friday, you'll get $200 off. So I wanted to focus on that. We have another workshop coming before that, Every Man's Battle. But the early bird is done with that one, so we'll talk about that.
That's a nice fall gift.
Yeah, $200. There's a lady that after she attended, she shared she had been in a long marriage, 16 years. She was a worship leader with her husband since they were 17 years old. And her husband had an affair with her best friend.
Oh, my goodness.
And just how crushed she was.
Yeah.
Her husband doesn't want to reconcile. She does. She's heartbroken, but here's what she said she takes away from the workshop. I leave here with hope that there is life even after trauma and tragedy. I leave here with sisters in Christ who will be friends for life and support for my wounded soul. I leave here with peace because I know coming here has given me the tools I need to more than survive this trauma. I will thrive. She says, if you're a woman who's been betrayed, you have to come to this workshop. This is what the body of Christ is supposed to look like. So many broken women, yet so much ministry and hope being brought to broken lives. It's worth every single penny.
Wow.
And we've got scholarships if money's a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So please, we don't want to put up a single barrier for you coming. You just make adjustments to your schedule and you can come. Folks, if you are thinking about supporting a ministry, especially as we're approaching year end, what could be better than to support a ministry that is doing things that God is affirming by His Holy Spirit, reaching out and touching lives and making changes.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing better than that. And when I read these testimonies, I get chills and I get tears sometimes just realizing what the woman, the man, the couple were before and what they were after, and the hope. And without hope, life is really difficult. So
yeah,
thanks for letting me go on and on.
Well, Larry, thank you. And that's more than just going on and on. This is about lives being transformed. And when we reach places of hurt and pain, hopelessness and helplessness, it's not over. New Life, it does that. It provides new life. And
There's no situation that God cannot redeem.
Absolutely. And we're going to come back to your calls right after this.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Orange County, California, November 5th through the 7th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits, like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live, and we're going to go straight back to the phones. If you're holding, please hold on with us. We've got another show coming up. And so
we want to talk to all of you.
We want to talk to all of you. And if you want to call in, give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to go to Jane in Dallas, Texas. Jane, are you there?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm calling. Hi. My husband has an addiction with drugs and alcohol, and he went to a inpatient facility, and he's been out maybe about 2 weeks or so, something like that. And it seems as though he's reverting back to his same ways as far as leaving out at night and the behavior, and then as far as the loss of the job by being gone into rehab. And so I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's typically 2 crisis moments that I look at as a person who works in this field and works with people struggling with addiction. And the first crisis intervention is to get a person into treatment. The second crisis intervention, I'm actually going to do one of these tomorrow, is getting a person out of treatment, meaning that like how they go back into their daily lives. And the work isn't necessarily in treatment, although it is. The real work is when they land back on the ground and back in their normal environment in which they used and drank and all of that. So if the behavior is repeating, you don't even need to know that he's using or drinking, but if his behavior hasn't changed, I can guarantee you that if he isn't using or drinking, he's on a very short clock to be using and drinking.
Jane, why did he choose to go into inpatient treatment? What brought that about?
I didn't hear your question.
Why did he choose to go to inpatient? What brought that about?
Well, he said that he was tired of what he was doing, and he sees that it's hurting himself and his relationships. And so he said he's been doing it for over 20 years, and he said he's just tired of it. He wants to be normal again.
We're having a little trouble hearing you, so if you can make any adjustments to clear that up, we want to hear all that you have to say. Is he doing any outpatient treatment?
Yeah, what is his
groups or
follow-up
sponsor?
aftercare?
No, he's not.
That's the problem
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
a huge problem. Yeah.
You can't leave treatment and do nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he has to have an ongoing recovery plan to get any success. You know, we look at the first entire year of recovery. We want to get to at least a year of sobriety. Anything in that looks or smells like the old, what we call old behavior, is really looking at it as a huge red flag.
It's like the smoke before the fire.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And Jane, if you were to praise him, the family and I are so grateful that you chose to go into treatment. That was such a brave choice. We need you to stay in an outpatient program or with a counselor. Are you willing to consider doing that? What do you think your husband would do? What would he say?
I think he would probably say that, yeah, he would be open to going to an outpatient, program. I think he's been to a few meetings, but that hasn't been consistent since he's been back.
Yeah, I would want to know. I would want to ask him, did they outline anything for him to do when he left treatment? And to say, they did. Okay, I'm concerned that there hasn't been the follow-through on your follow-up care. And I think that could be setting you up for disaster, right? And it makes me, as your wife, feel very insecure that we're headed back down the same path. So, let's get on board. And what are you willing to do? Like you said, Alice.
Jane, why have you held back from asking him?
I really didn't know what to ask.
Sure. It is very hard to know what to do. Given that your husband went in voluntarily and that he is still going to meetings, his awareness and that softening heart are a good sign that he might just accept a simple request from you. I'm a sugar coater, and it can be to a fault that I'm a sugar coater, but I would try to...
I like the side door.
I would, as much as possible, leading with, I'm proud of you. We've been seeing changes in you since you were in inpatient, and I'm glad you're still doing meetings. Would you also consider adding individual counseling and an outpatient program to this? I'm sure you will, because you are so willing to change your life around, husband. Thank you. Go with that, and let's see if that'll help lower the defenses.
Well, and there is a lag time for people in relationship with addicts where you need to see them doing well for a while before you kind of let your guard down. And I think to even kind of put it on you and say, this might just be me, right? But when I start to see anything that reminds me of the old behavior, I get really anxious. And so as I see that, it makes me scared that you're using again. Can we address this?
And I would be careful not to put too much on yourself, because addicts love gaslighting and scapegoating.
That is true. That is true.
So, but with that said, yes, and here to follow up with what Jill was saying is, like, let him know that you have not done your work, because, friend, you have not done your work. You need to be going to Al-Anon. You need your own recovery process. If he's been doing this,
that'll help you know what to do.
Exactly.
And you're saying that to Jane.
To
Jane,
yep. Jane, you got to do your own work, friend, because you are not in control. Like, the first principle of recovery is powerlessness. And if he's powerless against his addiction, how much more are you? And yet the thing that you're powerless against is the thing deeply impacting and affecting, and really starting to uncover what's inside of me that has sort of either allowed it or co-signed it. You're not responsible.
Or afraid to say anything.
Yeah, that you haven't confronted and kind of stuck up for yourself. And said, hey, I'm putting my foot down and not allowing this to run my life anymore either. And so getting into an Al-Anon group, again, we obviously recommend this a lot, but you're in Dallas, Texas. There's a lot of therapists there that specializes in addiction issues and codependency. And I would highly, highly recommend you do that. And again, one of the books that we have here that really kind of addresses these types of issues is Take Your Life Back. And so we're going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back, and we're going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Bible. Again, tons of great, great principles as you're working through recovery that are directly derived from the Bible. And you can kind of see how God, in his infinite wisdom, is helping us all recover from what we struggle with. So Jane, thank you so much for calling in. Everyone, thank you for being with us today. Again, we have the Restored Workshop coming up in Washington, D.C., November 12th through the 14th. The weekend before that here in Orange County, it's beautiful out here. And so anything to get you guys that are struggling with sexual acting out, behaviors that you're ashamed of it but cannot break, get to Every Man's Battle out here in Orange County. Again, that is the first weekend of November. And I know it's a few months off, but Intimacy in Marriage is coming up February 11th through the 13th. We typically do that Valentine's Day weekend. It's very intentional. Best thing that you guys can do for your marriage is Intimacy in Marriage. And again, here in Orange County, February 11th through the 13th. And finally, we have Life Recovery Today with Steve Arterburn. Again, watch every Thursday at 11 Eastern Time on the NRB network. That you can also visit liferecoverytoday.net to catch up with any past episodes, and 1-800-NEW-LIFE to connect with a therapist, to give us a call. We're going to be in studio another hour, 1-800-229-3000. Love to talk with you. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.